when the hurricane was coming, I was busy. We knew it was going to hit Southern Florida. Yeah. So I reached out to Amy and team to check on them, see how everything was going. And then once it kind of, the thing kind of jiggered and jaggered a bit, and it was supposed to.
We call it wobbling.
Wobbling, right?
Hurricane wobble. Okay.
And so luckily, it wasn't a direct hit on the East Coast. It was more southwest coast of Florida. Mm-hmm. But Amy still has members down there, even though her primary area is more eastern and central. Wouldn't you say, Amy?
Yeah, southeast is really our main area.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing is I reached out to Amy almost immediately once we knew things were, getting under control, so to speak, and said, let's reach out to these people based on their zip codes. And so because we house all the data, and literally if you think about the way a normal credit union or bank or someone might, they would go to their IT, they would have a list pull, they would try to figure out this, that, and the other, and kind of weeks and weeks later, they'd get something out the door. Well, once Amy had all of her programs in place, right? Who to call for what, and how to get emergency help, and a Q Cash offer, which is quick cash. That's the name of the product.
Right.
So we got all the zip codes that were affected, and we essentially pulled the people that were in the eye of the problem and would undoubtedly have the most damage. And we immediately reached out to them and had just an incredible response. And this all, it was like boom, 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 between Amy's team and our team. And then after we did 2 rounds of that to try to reach out to the members, because one thing you have to be clear on when it comes to these kind of storms, people are dislocated.
Oh, yeah.
They've had damage. Their roof, their tree is down, their yard is flooded, their basement's flooded, whatever, right? And so they're hysterical. So the job is to make them feel like you care from a credit union perspective, that you're here for them financially. And so away we went. And the results are to speak for themselves. And then I went to Amy once that was done and said, let's now go out to the members again with a phase 2 effort.
Okay.
And what we want to do is specifically address we know they have a mortgage. We know they have a car loan. We know they have a home loan, a personal loan, a home equity loan, a credit card. So we can actually call out the product that they might be having difficulty with. And at the same time, kind of do an instant survey that told us, okay, how severe was your damage, right? On a scale of 1 to 10. Was it a 10? Was it a 1? And then we instantly sent that information to Tropical, and their customer service center picked up the phone and literally called the people that were in the greatest distress.
Wow.
So the whole thing is just an incredible story. Amy is very, very, she cares about her members. She puts that first on her agenda. They aren't a siloed organization. You can work across the various departments, like the customer service center or member service center, and get them to prepare for these people to start answering these surveys. So anyway, it's just an incredible experience.
So 2 questions here for you, Amy. What's the time span, and what was the messaging that went out to these folks?
Yeah, the first round of emails was just to let them know about the various programs. And we also even included resources with FEMA. One of our employees, and this actually really helped a lot, as horrible as it was, one of our employees is a remote employee and actually has a home in Fort Myers.
Oh.
That suffered pretty much I won't say complete loss, but she suffered a lot.
Okay.
And so she was able to, when she told us that when she went to go to the FEMA station they had set up in Fort Myers, she was the only one there. She says it was her and a bunch of cats. I mean, there was like 10, 15 FEMA employees ready to help, but nobody there because they just didn't know where to go or what to do. So we decided that the best thing to do not only was to tell them about the resources we could offer, but also give them the direct contact information for the resources for FEMA.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That was actually helpful because I wouldn't have known that. We would not have known that that was an issue because we on the East Side did not suffer.
Right.
And I would say that was one of the things that was different than other disasters than we've had in the past. Because normally, if there's a hurricane, we're affected. Like our branches are closed and our branches and our people, and we know what to do because we're all going through it. We're putting shutters up.
Yeah.
This case, it really didn't hit us as much. We got some outer bands. I mean, that storm was enormous, but it completely devastated the Fort Myers, Sanibel area.
Yeah.
And so we were able to isolate those people, but we really wanted to be able to dig into communications in a way that we've never done before. For example, it was near the end of the month. First of the month, if you haven't made your payments, there's a couple day grace period, and then late notices go out. We wanted to stop those late notices for anybody that was over in that area.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just stop them, but also tell them what the resources were right on that notice. They weren't even sure, especially if they were getting mail, would they even have a mailbox to put these things in?
I know.
So we wanted to just change up the way we do things, and because we were not directly impacted, we had a little bit more leeway and time to think about just them rather than up and down the branches and everything else. We were able to really focus on them. And Paula is right, because all this information is going back and forth between our marketing automation system, HubSpot, and ChannelNet, we do know the products, and we were able to isolate the different things. And we wanted to make sure that the different programs, including the mortgage and deferments, special auto loans, the QCash, which is a no credit check loan that's in 60 seconds, that normally is only $1,000. We will raise that for anybody who was impacted by the hurricane to $2,000, up to $2,000. And made sure it just was going out to those individual people and how to access it.
Okay.
And then when the survey idea was so brilliant, and I wish we would have thought of that sooner. That one just went out this past week, and anybody who scored a 7, 8, 9, or 10 in terms of damage, not only were we making the phone calls out, but we knew because of the products that they had, what departments needed to make those phone calls. So it wasn't even going to a general, hey, call out these people. It was going to loan servicing. It was going to member service. It was going to the call center. It was going to digital banking. It went to the people who could answer the questions and not have to go, oh, let me check on that. Let me check with collections. Let me check with, no, it was the department that was most impact that knew this member and knew what their situation was, that was able to make those calls out and help them immediately. That made a world of difference.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh.